Jumbo from Kenya, and very much not your typical summer vacation. I'm recording this early in the morning. It's not even 6 a.m. We are here at Lake Naivasha. Clara can pronounce that better than I can, but this is actually our second of 3 stops along this trip. So we've been planning this trip for 5 years or more. We've said we wanted to do a big family safari, so in addition to us, Andrew's sister and her family are here, and Andrew's mom. And we knew we wanted to do safari as a whole family, and we wanted to wait as long as we could for Clara to be old enough to handle it and remember it, but also get it the trip done before our nephew Ben graduates high school. And that led us to the summer of 2024. So we've had this pin for a long time, and we are finally here, which means Emily and I have had a ton of time to plan and to research. And the way we have this trip set up is we worked with an in-country partner, Spirit of Kenya, to coordinate most of our trip here. So we handled the airfare to and from, we handled our hotels in Nairobi, but then they took over. And so they picked us up early in the morning from our hotel in Nairobi when we landed. We landed really late at night, so we went to the hotel and slept, and then they picked us up and we headed out of town. Our first stop was out at Amboseli National Park, which was maybe 4 or 5 hours out of Nairobi. But that sounds like a long time in the car, but when there's giraffes and zebras on the side of the road and you haven't seen them yet, it was really fun and exciting. But we went to Amboseli and we stayed there for 3 nights. We stayed at this amazing lodge called Tawi Lodge, which is not in Amboseli. It's right next to it inside a conservancy, where there are also just tons of animals lurking around. But it was a super nice resort where we stayed in tents. They zipped, but it was for sure glamping at its finest. But Spirit of Kenya, they provided 2 Land Cruisers, because there's 9 of us, so we split up into 2 vehicles and 2 guides that are with us for the entirety of our trip. And they've been super great to get to know and taken such good care of us. So we were at Amboseli for 3 nights. The first night there, we were kind of tired and we wanted to explore, and so we didn't go out on a canoe drive that first night. We just hung out at the resort. The kids swam, and how cool is that to get to swim in a pool in Africa? It's winter time here, which does not mean it's terribly cold, but you can see I'm sitting here wearing a fleece. In the mornings it is pretty brisk. That pool was also not warm, but kids don't seem to care too much. But we swam, and then we went on a bush walk. So we went on a little walking safari of sorts with a guide from the lodge, as well as a guide that was a Maasai, and they shared all kinds of things about animal tracks and plants and how to make toothbrushes out of plants the natural way, and it was just really fun. The kids loved getting to hear and learn all about the nature here in Kenya. But the bushwalk ended in what is called a sundowner, where you go out into a really beautiful spot and you watch the sun go down. But you don't just sit there and watch. There's also they built a fire for us, and they had drinks and snacks, and it was just the best way to kick off our time in Kenya. It was very surreal sitting there watching the sunset and realizing exactly where we were and how special it was. at Amboseli, we did go out on a couple of game drives. We did kind of a almost whole day one, and then the next day we did a morning time one, and got to see all kinds of animals, from elephants to giraffes to zebras to lions, which we weren't sure if we'd see lions at all, but boy did we see lions. The first day on the whole game drive, we stumbled upon a whole pride of lions that I guess had caught themselves a wildebeest the night before and were finishing licking it clean. And the funniest part of that was, so there was a whole group of lions and they're finishing the carcass, and there were some hyenas lurking over to the side and hoping for scraps, and one of them was pretty gutsy, and we watched him sneak up, and he got himself a leg, and he trotted off with his proudly with his wildebeest leg that he stole from the lions. Gutsy little guy.
See that lion just staring at him? Okay. The lion that he stole.
And then the next day we also found a big pride of lions that were mostly mamas and cubs that were moving, and they literally walked in front of the safari vehicles. They were crossing the road right in front of us, and they went over and they were moving, and then you could tell that the moms heard something that they didn't like, and so they had the cubs stay back, and they started heading into some bushes, and we think they stumbled upon a male lion, which might or might not have been the dad of a bunch of those cubs, but sometimes even if they're your own son, if you're a lion, that is competition. And so the moms had to fight and run off that male lion to make it safe for their cubs. But that was just incredible to get to not only see but hear that scuffle happening over in the bushes. Tawi Lodge was so great. They fed us well. When we went out on game drives, they would pack us meals to go that we could take with us and go find a pretty spot inside the park to sit and have lunch one day, and then it was kind of brunch the next day. Me and Claire and Ben got to ride camels one afternoon. They led us on camels around the Conservancy, which was really fun, and Claire was so excited to get up high on a camel and ride through the bush. What was the your favorite animal that we got to see?
I really like seeing those cheetahs.
What was the favorite animal that you saw?
A cheetah.
Tell me about it.
I really liked it because there's 3 cubs.
Were they cute?
Yes.
Yeah. And our second day of game drives, as we were kind of done, we thought we were literally heading back into Tawi, and one of the lodge guards said, "Hey," in Swahili, he was talking with George, our driver, but said, "Hey, I know where there's mama and baby cheetahs. Do you want to go see?" Now they had been speaking in Swahili, and so next thing we know, this guy's hopping in the car with his radio, and we're backing up, and we're like, "George, what are we doing?" He said, "There's cheetahs." So we went out and found this mama cheetah and 3 babies who were maybe 2 months old. Like, they were fuzzy. They had all those little like prickly burrs stuck to their fur. They were the cutest things. And we kind of just stalked them and followed them for a long while. Mama cheetah didn't seem terribly bothered by us. I mean, annoyed, I'm sure, because she kept kind of moving from tree to tree with her babies. I think they were hunting, and we were scaring off anything they would be able to eat. But it was unbelievable. Cheetah was Perry's like top of his list coming into this trip, and we were like, "Buddy, I don't know that that's gonna happen." But not only that, we got to see one super up close with her babies. So after Tawi, yes, this was yesterday morning, we got up and had breakfast, and the plan was, and I preface that because this is not what happened, the plan was we were getting up, we were going to drive, this is like 6 hours from there here to the lake, and it was going to take us not directly through Nairobi, but we had to go up towards the city and kind of cut around it. And so that's what we were doing. But apparently, so if you follow the news, it was Tuesday of last week. There were some pretty big political protests in the city of Nairobi that got deadly. And then it was over a finance bill that has since been pulled back by the president. But yesterday was Tuesday. There was another kind of big rash of protests in and kind of throughout the city. And so that caused a lot of chaos, and it caused almost all the roads in the city to get shut down, either by protesters or by the police who were trying to keep movement in and out of the city. So we got off the main road into a neighborhood, kind of like the slums on the outskirts of Nairobi, and we got kind of trapped there for a couple of hours. We were a set of actually 3 safari vehicles from Spirit of Kenya. It was ours, it was the one that the Eckleys were in, and then there were some other folks from Florida in one too. And we got off the road, but then even the road that we had come in on had gotten kind of closed down. And so we spent a couple hours trying just to get out and through and find a way to get where we needed to go. Now, we were totally safe the whole time, and the people in these neighborhoods were so gracious and so kind, and you were watching them talking to our drivers, trying to give them help and offering to guide them to different ways to get out. Mostly to no avail. We did some interesting off-roading and driving through these tiny alleyways. We completely missed lunch, and so our sweet driver George went and to just a street side like store-ish, like a window, and got us loaves of white bread and juice and bananas, and was just like, "Here, please eat." But eventually we did make it out and back to a main road that had opened back up enough for us to get on it, and we did not head towards Nairobi. We still couldn't, but we headed back out of town, and then we're able to do like a really wide kind of sweep around Nairobi to get where we needed to go, but that also added more time. So we ended up in the car for none less than 10 hours yesterday to get here. It was an adventure, to say the least, but it was intense, but we were totally safe. We were not in any kind of imminent danger, but it was an inconvenience for sure, and yeah. So we are crossing our fingers and we are saying prayers that the next couple times we're in Nairobi that there are not active protests happening. But in the meantime, we're going to enjoy being way back out of town for a number of days. So we're here at the lake. We were supposed to go on a boat ride when we got here yesterday. We made it here at like 5:30 in the evening. This resort's beautiful. I don't know if you can really see the sun's coming up. We'll go outside in a minute. I'm sitting in the lobby because my people are still asleep. But it's beautiful. There are zebras like right when we walked into our room here. There's a patio on the back, and there were a mama and baby zebra. Like just, I mean, we could have touched them. We didn't, but they were right there. And it's beautiful here. We did walk around a little bit. We had dinner last night, which was amazing. Although we were so hungry, cardboard would have been amazing. But on the way back to our room from dinner, there was a whole bloat of hippos, I don't know, 30 yards from us, like right behind our rooms, which was really cool. The guard here, as we were walking back to our room, he had a flashlight and he said, "Hey, you want to see some hippos?" And we're like, "Of course we want to see some hippos."
I'll put a spot right on. A little.
The sun was rising, so I came outside. There's the lake back there. So we are just here for one night, sadly, because it's so pretty. But this was a stopover between Amboseli, where we were for the first 3 nights of safari, and then today we are heading over to the Maasai Mara for another kind of stint of our safari. So we're gonna leave here in a little bit after breakfast and hopefully get to go on that boat ride that we did not get to go on yesterday because it took so long to get here before we head on to the Mara. But we are officially 4 nights in, and it has been such, loud birds. It has been such a fun adventure so far. Thanks for coming along with us, and we'll see you next time.
Don't fall in.